Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakti Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakti Vrindam. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakti Vrindam. On this blessed day of Gaura Purnima, because we're actually Gaur Bhaktas in this age, no one can actually approach Sri Sri Radha and Krishna without the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Technically, we're Gaur Bhaktas. Therefore, you could say, for Gaudiya Vaisnavas, this is the most important day of the year. I know it's holy, that that's not so much our focus today. This is Gaur Purnima Maha Mahotsava. Mahotsava means festival, but Maha Mahotsava means big festival. So this is big festival. I'd like to read briefly from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, which I was just reading, was the favorite book of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. This is Adi Leela, text number 2. I'll just read the translation and part of the purport so we can comment on all this nectar. O my most merciful Lord Caitanya, may the nectarian Ganges, waters of your transcendental activities, flow on the surface of my desert-like tongue, beautifying these waters with the lotus flowers of singing, dancing, and loud chanting of Krishna's holy names, which are the pleasure abodes of unalloyed devotees. These devotees, you devotees, are compared to swans, ducks, and bees. The rivers flowing produces a melodious sound that gladdens their ears. I think that's my most favorite verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's an Adi Leela. Prabhupada's purport. Lord Chaitanya's movement of Krishna consciousness is full of dancing and singing about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. It is compared herein to the pure waters of the Ganges, which are full of lotus flowers. The enjoyers of those lotus flowers are the pure devotees who are like bees and swans. They chant like the flowing of the Ganges, the river of the celestial kingdom. The author desires such sweetly flowing waves to cover his tongue. He humbly compares himself to materialistic persons who always engage in dry talk from which they derive no satisfaction. If they were to use their dry tongues to chant the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. As exemplified by Lord Caitanya, they would taste sweet nectar and enjoy life. Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyanangana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmaya Sri Shri Chaitanya Maro Vishnam Shtapitam Dena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Didanti Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasaya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama. There's so much that could be said today about the transcendental characteristics and the pastimes of Lord Caitanya. They're just like innumerable precious gems. So which one do you pick up and comment on? But most significant, of course, is that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar. As we know, in each age, out of his kindness, the Lord appears to inaugurate the process for that age. Dharman tu sakshat bhagavat panitam. Prabhupada would often quote that line from the Bhagavatam, that no one but the Lord himself can inaugurate a process of religion. And he does so in each age. Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Yuga. He comes in each age and he gives a process which is applicable for the people of that time. People are different through the ages, so the processes of becoming self-realized, of becoming Krishna conscious, as we would say, differ. But he's the singular, only person who can inaugurate a process for each age. And he's very kind to come in Kali Yuga. Actually, Krishna is sometimes called Tri-Yuga Avatar. Avatar means he who descends from the spiritual world to enlighten the fallen conditioned souls. Avatar, Turi means three. So Turi Yuga age. Krishna generally just comes in 3 ages because this age is so bad. I don't have to remind you. You just, if you want, not today, but just glance at the news. Oh my gosh, OMG. It's getting worse and worse. So Kali Yuga, it's Kalosu Dasambhavan, it's stated. Most people born in the age of Kali, it's a lowborn birth. So we kind of get, overlooked. We're the burnt remnants of people from the previous ages. But Prabhupada said, Lord Caitanya is even kinder than Krishna. Although Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Yanga, he's the combined form of Radha and Krishna. But he comes in a very compassionate mood. Just like Srimati Radharani, she's the compassionate, tender feature of the Lord. So when Krishna comes in Kali Yuga, he comes in a golden form, as Radharani is in a golden form. It's all very, very, quite deep actually. But he comes. He's very kind. There's a verse in Bhagavatam of 1st canto, 2nd chapter, verse 38. Very important verse. Ete chamsa kalo pumsha krishnashtu bhagavan swayam indraye vyakalam lokam vidayute juge juge. All the above mentioned incarnations, because Krishna comes personally, but he expands his various incarnations, are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions. But Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, Avatari. All of them appear on planets whenever there's a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord appears to protect the theists so they can complete the mission of life, which is to develop our love of God. Now it's interesting, actually, Srila Jiva Goswami has stated that this particular verse is the Paribhashya Sutra. What does Paribhashya Sutra mean? It means the seed verse of the book. The seed verse is like you take a seed, you take a banyan tree seed, you plant it in the ground, and the whole tree comes up eventually. So the seed of the Bhagavatam, from which all the knowledge is coming in the Amala Purana, the most pure Purana, Grantaraj, the king of all scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, the seed verse is Ete Chamsa Kalo Pumusha. So these different verses, the Bhagavatam develops, it grows from that verse, according to Jiva Goswami. So many incarnations are coming. But out of all these multitude, because why do we say multitude? Because Prabhupada said that the incarnations of God in the material world are more numerous than the waves of the ocean. We have the Das avatars, the 10 principles. But if we studied deeply, we had access to that knowledge. There's as many incarnations as there are waves on the ocean. I'm from California, so I know what it means to sit on the beach. I know what it means to catch the waves, but I won't go into that. Every 7th wave is a surfer's dream. But the waves are coming constantly. It's just one beach. Waves all over the world. So there's more incarnations than there are waves on the ocean. But out of all these incarnations, Lord Caitanya is unique, he's special. Actually, technically speaking, he's not an incarnation. We say he's the incarnation for this age, but in Lordist circles, he's not an incarnation because an incarnation, when Krishna expands as Ram, or Shringa, or Vamana, these different incarnations, only some of his opulences are manifest in that particular incarnation, not all. Krishna has all 6 opulences of Godhead. But it's interesting. Our acharyas say that when Lord Caitanya comes, he also manifests all 6 opulences of Godhead. What are they? Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, renunciation. If you study Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, you'll see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He displays these 6 opulences. So that's special. He's not an incarnation technically. But his real specialty, what's the real specialty about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? That he introduces and he widely distributes Braj Prema, the highest, Panam Gatim, the highest goal of life, to develop the love of the Brajavasis for Krishna. Because the spiritual world is called Vaikuntha. In that regard, we call it the official kingdom of God. It's very official, sir, yes, sir. But Vrindavan's the playground of God. And there he relates in a very intimate way with devotees in different rasas. So that understanding was introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that we know from Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who knows Chaitanya very well because in the spiritual world, of course, Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, so he has all information. And he's very kindly sharing it with us. But he was living up in Ramkeli, which is a bit north of Mayapur itself. And it's a long story, but he and Sanatana Goswami had a private residence, although they were engaged in the service of the Nawab, the ruler up there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on his way from eastern Bengal to Vrindavan Dham. Long journey, takes 3 months to walk, straight arrow. But on the way, he deviated from that path. He went due north to Ramkeli to see his devotees, Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis. They hadn't met him yet. They wrote a letter to him, but they hadn't met him yet. So when Mahaprabhu, I actually visited this part of Ramkeli, this home of Rupa and Sanatana and their family. It's maybe 6 kilometers from the palace of the Nawab. They had their private residence. They had a little Radhakunda, Shyamakunda, Govardhan. So they created Vrindavan in that village. I visited that home. It's still there. And some of their deities are still there. The original Madan Mohan deity of the family is still there. And later on, Sanatana Goswami, as you know, received a deity, Madan Mohan, when he was in Vrindavan, and that's one of the principal temples now in Vrindavan. But when it's described that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Ramkeli, he came to this village, and he was walking on the path near the home of Rupa and Sanatana. Rupa and Sanatana, they were there studying the scriptures, and suddenly from around the corner came this effulgent, transcendental personality. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 7 feet tall. His eyes stretched like lotuses to his ears. And his arms hang down to his knees, and his lotus feet were quite big. I've seen the imprint in Bihar, where the pastime of dancing with the animals was. I've seen his footprints in the sand, like this big. Very beautiful, very effulgent, golden avatar. Tears were streaming down his eyes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And at that moment, that was the first moment that Rupa Goswami saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As soon as he saw him, the following words came out of his mouth, you could say from his heart. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prem Badayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namne Go Tishe Namaha. O most munificent Incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani. We see that in all our deities, our brass deities, almost like the golden. You are widely distributing love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances to you. So that's, and that verse practically encompasses the whole mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are widely distributing love of Krishna. Therefore, we offer our obeisances to you. This is the essence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. Above and beyond all other incarnations, he's widely distributing prema. What kind of prema? Braj prema. O Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years and more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. Krishna, I'm feeling all vacant in this world in your absence. The Braj Gopis. This type of love, he's distributing Kulo Shudra Shambhava, or worse yet, to the Jagai and Madhais. This is the most amazing thing. This is what he does. This is his mission. There's no mention of other incarnations doing that. Of course, if you follow the other incarnations, you'll be gradually elevated to love of God, to Vaikuntha. But generally, the followers of Lord Caitanya, it's understood that they're Brajbasis, and particularly they want to be Radhadasis. But that's another lecture. There's no mention in Shastra of other incarnations focusing on distributing love of God. During their missions in this world, there's no mention of breaking open the storehouse of ecstatic love. Their mission is actually very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita. And it's an important and essential mission. A verse we've quoted 10,000 times. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya taduskritam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. He comes to deliver the pious devotees, annihilate the miscreants, as well as to establish the principles of religion. Krishna says, I advent myself millennium after millennium. This is what the incarnations do. They rescue devotees, they kill demons, and they reestablish Dharma. But there's no mention that they distribute Braj Prema. For example, Lord Nrsingadev appeared to protect Prahlad Maharaj, Paritranaya Sadhana. Lord Varaha appeared to kill the demon, Hiranyaksha. And Lord Kapila, one incarnation, he appeared to establish the absolute truth, because in this age, things get mixed up pretty quick. So there's no mention in these particular leelas of a wide distribution of love of God. But Mahaprabhu, whose appearance it is today, we must take advantage. That was his main purpose, to flood the world with prema. And how? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Srila Kaviraj Goswami writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita that when Lord Krishna appeared, he displayed his pastimes, but the conditioned souls didn't participate. It's like a theater. You can watch it, and by watching that theater, you get inspired. Like, when we were young, we'd go to movies. We'd come out inspired in one way, to be a warrior, to be a lover, to be a businessman. It would inspire us, but we couldn't jump in the film. We were just inspired by it. But by watching it, we became inspired. So in the same way, when Krishna comes in his various incarnations, and we may not be present, but we can read about them, especially in the Puranas, especially in the Bhagavad Purana, we get inspired. Nothing's more attractive than those leelas, Krishna's leelas. Actually, I was reading recently, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna is personally present in that name, but all of his Vrindavan pastimes are also in the sound of the Maha Mantra. That just increased my greed even more for the pastimes. They're all there. Nothing's more attractive than Krishna's Leelas. That's why he comes and displays them. The world appears beautiful to our conditioned eyes, but when we see or even hear about the pastimes of the Lord, we have a change of heart. Like a caterpillar. We're like caterpillars. We're sadhan bhaktas. We're on our way. So caterpillar is kind of an ugly creature. How many? 32 or 36 legs. And they go like this. I used to collect them when I was young. My mother hated it. They'd escape and get all over the house. But there's a point where they had a metamorphosis in their life, that they curl up in a little ball somewhere safe in a tree, on a leaf or something, and they spin a cocoon. And after, I used to collect monarch butterflies. I was this fanatic as a kid. I had these cages all over my room, with these funny looking, they called them larvas, or, cocoons. My mother would come in, oh my God, am I cleaning this room? It's full of larvas. And then in the spring at one point, they'd all open up. And out would come this beautiful entity, a monarch butterfly. Why? Monarch is a sign of royalty. They're orange with the tip of yellow and some black lines like that, and the tips of their antennas. It's good I came to this movement. I'd probably be a monarch butterfly in my next life. And I had this whole thing that at one point, I'd go outside and I'd open all the cages. They'd all fly away. And I'd cry like a baby. But it was a very beautiful thing to witness, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. So right now, we're not the caterpillars, we're in the cocoon. We're sadhan bhaktis. We're in a metamorphosis. We're having a change of heart. And one day, when our bhaktis fully manifest, we'll also fly home, back to the spiritual world. So Krishna came and he showed his pastime. So many, I want to do that. Okay, then you do yoga, you do jnana, you do different things in different ages. Ram and Krishna, different avatars. You become inspired. I'm going to become serious. Vatra Vegam, Manasakroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam. I'm not going to live the life of a hedonist. I'm going to control my senses, live a pure life, practice whatever is the process of that age, just by seeing or hearing about those pastimes. But we can't participate them until we get back home, back to Godhead. However, at the end of Dwapara Yuga, not that long ago, 5,000 years ago, end of Dwapara Yuga, when Kali Yuga started, Krishna went back to the spiritual world. And by the mercy of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who's also a resident of Goloka Vrindavan, we get an insight what happened when Krishna went back to Goloka Vrindavan after his pastimes, his theater pastimes on this planet. He reveals something very interesting. When Krishna went back to the spiritual world, he considered as follows. This is CC Adi Lila 3:14. For a long time I have not bestowed unalloyed loving service to me upon the inhabitants of the earth. Without such loving attachment, the existence of the material world is useless. Therefore, I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age of Kali, because it just started Kali Yuga, Nam Sankirtan. The congregational chanting of the holy names. It means we all come together, because even in the past 3 ages, there were Krishna Bhaktas. They were like Babajis. They were somewhere in the forest, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. But there was no mass chanting of the holy names. I shall personally inaugurate the religion of the age, Nam Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy name. I shall make the world, I love this part, dance in ecstasy. Not just New York or Moscow or Dnipro or San Francisco or Sydney. He said, I shall make the world dance. We're just at the beginning of this movement, Prabhu. No problem taking further birth in this movement. If we do, we may see one day the world dancing. This is not exaggeration. The saints and sages don't exaggerate. Tatpadarshi, they can see past they can see present, and they can see future. So one day the world, Prabhupada did say to Guru Das, my godbrother, in 1972 in London, one day this Hare Krishna movement will save the world in its darkest hour. And how do we save the world? And we get an army and we go out with guns? No. Our astras, our weapons by which we defeat illusion, is very simple. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And how will he make the world dance? They'll dance in ecstasy, Kaviraj Goswami says, realizing the four mellows of loving devotional service. Beyond Vaikuntha, with all due respect. Beyond the official kingdom of God. Surya Sir, to Vrindavan. Hey Krishna, you think you're some big boy? Let's have a fight. Let's wrestle in the sand, and I win. Out of love, Krishna's controlled by the love of his devotees. It's very sweet. In other words, Mahaprabhu is saying, I'll do a dramatic performance when I come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting the holy names, and I'll invite all the fallen souls into the kirtan. It's the first time that you don't just witness it, you get to be part of the play. It's not a play, it's reality. We see when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you see the pictures sometimes at Mahaprabhu's kirtans, there's Panchatattva, there's somebody playing, and there's some ugly guy in the back, some haggard woman, you know. That was his pleasure. And of course we know he sent Haridas Thakur and Nitai out to deliver Jagai and Madhai. Everyone can join. And in this way, Cheto Dharpana Marjanam, all the obstacles in the path of pure devotion very quickly disappear. And very quickly one can taste Krishna Prema. Everyone's a candidate. Prabhupada said even a dog can take advantage of this movement. Sanatana Goswami remarks, Yata kancha natam yati, kamsham rasa vida nataha, tata diksha vidanena, dvijatam jayate nrinam. I like that part. Dvijatam jayate nrinam. As one can transform kamsa, or it's another name for bell metal, kamsha, into gold by treating it with mercury, one can also turn a low-born man into a brahmana by initiating him properly into the Vaishnava mantra. And that mantra is very clear. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. We have different stages of chanting. We have our japa in the morning. Prabhupada was always emphasizing it's so important, 16 rounds. If you don't finish your rounds, make them the next day. That constant association with Srinam, there's so much mercy there. But just like Jiva Goswami describes in his Sandarbhas, Krishna is the mood, the mellow of Krishna's pastimes in different places. Leelastan. Leelastan means the places of the Lord's pastimes. So there's Dwarka, where he rules as the king. He has thousands of wives and many loving servants. There's Mathura, where he's also royalty, but there's also a mood of Madhurya with the queens in Mathura, a bit more deeper mellow. And then there's Vrindavan, the pure unalloyed love of the gopis. So Jiva Goswami describes it very nicely. Perfect, Dwarka, more perfect, Mathura, and most perfect, Braj, Vrindavan. So you can use that transcendental mathematical equation in different ways as well. Japa is perfect. Congregational chanting, when we come together, it's more perfect because it's mentioned in the verse I quoted earlier. The loud chanting, the verse we're discussing, the loud chanting. I only know one devotee who really screams the Maha Mantra, and that's Jayapataka Maharaj. Yet when I first joined, I went to Toronto, and he was, some years ahead of me. And when we would go chant in the morning, Hey Krishna, hey! And the temple president would always throw him out. Go chant on the mountain. He'd go halfway, we could still hear him. Go chant on the mountain. That's okay. Look where he is, how advanced he is. But when we come together like this, it's even more perfect. Because within every congregation, there's devotees more advanced than you. There's devotees on the same level of you, friendship of you, and there's devotees up and coming. So you get the benefit of encouraging the younger devotees, come on, chant, Hare Krishna. And you relish chanting because you're getting the same taste with your God brothers and God sisters. And when you see advanced devotees singing like Bharahari, or Bibi Govinda Maharaj, Shivaram Maharaj, Madhava Prabhu, Gauravani, these devotees who have Nam Ruchi, Radhika Ranjana, these devotees have Nam Ruchi, they have taste. Then I want that taste. It's called lolium, it's called greed. Instead of greed for something material, we become greedy for something spiritual. Rupa Goswami describes in Padyavali, as young boys are attracted to young girls, and young girls are attracted to young boys with the same intensity. Let me be attracted to you, my dear Krishna, but in a transcendental loving way. So in the association of advanced devotees, we become, so that's the beauty of congregational chanting. And you can see it's overwhelming. The people that are coming every night, they probably have, some of them have never had experience in kirtan. But immediately they're elevated to the transcendental platform, beyond even sattva, Suddha sattva. I haven't witnessed any of these people becoming angry or confused or bewildered. Everyone's laughing and dancing and singing. This is the miraculous nature of the holy name. Miracle means something which contradicts the law of nature. So by dint of our past activities, Brahmanda Brahmatikonya Bhagavan Jeev, traveling from, falling from grace, going through different universes, different species of life, different bodies, we're carrying a lot of baggage. It's an obstacle. And you have to remove it. And what do we japa? But I can see that just rivers of this, inauspicious things just flowing out of this all every night. And the people come away glowing. And they often come up to me, how can I continue this? They don't even know the philosophy. It's like you go to a doctor, he gives you antibiotics, you trust him. You take them and you get cured. You don't know how the antibiotics are working, but they work. So you don't even need to know the science behind the chanting. The holy name is so merciful. You just take it and you become purified. And as you become purified, you become more Krishna conscious. Like Prabhupada many times was asked, Swamiji, what is the meaning of this Maha Mantra? And Prabhupada would say, my Lord, my dear energy Lord, Ladini Shakti, Vrindavaneshwari, Radharani, please pick me up from this ocean of death and engage me in your devotional service. But one time, Prabhupada was asked, Swamiji, what is the meaning of this mantra? And he paused. Sometimes we would see him, he'd pause, he'd think. He always gave the perfect answer. He said, what does it mean, this Hare Krishna mantra? It means, my friend, my friend, my friend. So this relationship, rasa, it's developing. And sometimes people would complain, these young Prabhupada, this is not bhakti. Bhakti's, the great saints. You can't say your followers are getting a taste of bhakti. Prabhupada said, oh, no, they are. I heard him say it in Calcutta. Oh, yes, they are. Oh, wow, I am. Then he gave the analogy of the mango. He said, there's a green mango and there's a ripe mango. Ripe mango means yellow with black spots. Right, ladies? You go and you can smell. But it doesn't mean the green mango is not valuable, because from green mango we make achar, we make pickle. And many of us who came in the early days, were here in India, we became attached to this achar. I can't have a meal without achar. Little spice according to how I like it nice. Achar. So Prabhupada said, so their devotion is green, but it's real. And in due course of time, their devotion will mature. If they keep chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. So congregational chanting. So where is it stated? In learned circles? In India, when you speak in a learned circle, if you say something, you have to back it up by a verse in Shastra, or the quote of a great devotee, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur. His words, his writings are as good as Shastra. Because these devotees all come from the spiritual world. So whatever the acharyas say, that's as good as Shastra. So where is it stated that congregational chanting is important? Srimad Bhagavatam 11:532. And it's actually referring to taking the chanting to the people. Take it to the streets. Mahaprabhu chanted for some time in Srivasangam just to get it initiated, like you warm up your car. One day you open the door. Out! Go out and chant all over Nadia. Prabhupada did the same thing. You see that film, something on 22nd Avenue, that original Hare Krishna film, where somebody came and filmed the devotees inside. And there's one point where Brahmananda coming out with a big drum, and Gargamuni's there, and Kirtananda there, going out on Sankirtan for the first time, like really nervous. Hare Krishna. So what we really mean by chanting, you take it to the people. Srinam Prabhu is a person. Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. I keep going with that over and over and over in my head. There's no difference between Krishna and Kali Kali Nam Rup. The holy name is the avatar in this age. So he's very kind. He's dancing on the tip of my tongue. But then I'm chanting with all the devotees. I'm getting more benefit. But Srinam becomes most merciful when you take him to the non-devotees, as Mahaprabhu did, as Nitai did, Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas. That's what they did. They took it to the streets. So we can do that in different forms, Harinam Sankirtan, festivals, book distribution, internet, and as time goes on, the decades, the years, centuries, we'll have to innovate without sacrificing the tradition. Advanced devotees, Prabhupada did that, we'll also have to do that. But this verse explains that this type of chanting of Hare Krishna, it's the process for this age. Krishna Varna Trisha Krishnam Shangopanga Shaparshidam Yagnaya Sankatabhaya Yajantihi Shu Vedashaha. First verse I ever memorized. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who himself constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he's Krishna himself. He's accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons. Mahaprabhu has weapons and confidential companions. Now in Bhakti Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami comments that the process of this type of chanting amongst ourselves and in public is so potent that even a neophyte devotee sometimes experiences deep spiritual emotions. He's actually referring to the 5 fundamental processes of Krishna consciousness: chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, living in a holy place like Mathura, Vrindavan, worshipping the deity and associating with devotees. I read it recently. He says in Bhakti Sandarbha that even a neophyte devotee like us can sometimes experience ecstasy. That these processes are so potent. You can experience ecstasy through hearing Bhagavatam, living in a holy place, associating with, and especially chanting Hare Krishna. Sometimes I see it. Even amongst our guests, I'd see them like they've never been before. They've never come into a congregation of strangers, raised their hands and called out to God, Hare Krishna, with so much feeling. That must be some deep spiritual emotion. This is a movement of miracles. We have to see it. We can't just become familiar with it. We have to see how this movement is changing the lives of the people, changing the world, making it a better place somehow or other. We're covered, but by the causeless mercy, we can attain glimpses once in a while. Just like a sailor, he's sailing, on the sea, and the heavy fog comes in. My dad was a sailor at one point, and we had a boat, and we go out in San Francisco Bay. It was like just fog. We couldn't see like 1 inch ahead. And the only hope was that sometimes the sun would appear, and then the fog would disappear, and then we'd see something, and then the fog would come again. So sometimes like that in a kirtan, like in Badahari's kirtans. Badahari Prabhu, he has this siddhi, okay, that wherever he is, when he sits down, we traveled together like 15 years around the world. We were in all different types of situations. And when he said that, he sang the right melody. It was just the right melody for that group of people to get them a deep appreciation and dance. I was mystified. Sometimes he'd keep a melody, wouldn't sing it for 3 months later, but that right time. And you could see people, there was some transformation there. Or my godbrother, Govinda Maharaj. One of my godbrothers, I think, was Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. He said, when Govinda Maharaj sings, it's like gold. When he speaks, it's like gold. And when he cooks, it's like gold. He doesn't cook very often. A few months ago, he invited me. It was a Kaddish. He said, come over some potatoes. Okay. Those potatoes, oh my God, they're the best potatoes I ever ate. Or sometimes you get a glimpse, by reading a devotee's diary, like Yamuna Devi. Her memoirs of Srila Prabhupada, especially the book that she produced about cooking. That's like a manifesto. That book should be in every devotee's kitchen. She learned recipes from Prabhupada. She stayed in India for a long time. Many devotees don't even know her. She was a wonderful devotee. And her cookbook should be the standard for prasadam in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So like that, we get little glimpses by associating with those types of devotees and those types of activities. I've never been bored in a kirtan of Badahari. I've never been bored in a kirtan of Madhava. He sings real slow. Usually when someone sings slow, people fall asleep. But everyone knows when Madhava, it's going to, after an hour and a half, boom! So these are spiritual experiences. Nothing in the world can compare to any of these touches with reality. So again, this is always to bring us to the point of Braj Bhakti, to the chanting. Yes. Because what is its origin? Just like when you meet someone. Hey, what's your name and where are you from? You get an idea, right? You meet somebody what's your name? Where are you from? My name is Jean-Paul, I'm from France. I get an idea because I lived in France for 15 years, or in Africa. How you keeping, man? Kula. I know Africa, so I know people like that. So where does this mantra come from? What is the name of this mantra? Hare Krishna. Where does it come from? Golok Prem Dan Harinam Shankirtan, Nartam says. It comes from Goloka, the highest planet in the spiritual world. That says something. And it's meant to take us home. It's meant to help us develop the mood of the Brajavasis. Generally, Vaishnavas, before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were worshipping Lord Narayan. But the idea of worshipping Krishna in a more deeper way, which takes time, we can't jump over, but at least we know who we are and we know where we're going. The idea of worshipping Krishna in Madhurya Ras, as a lover, that came from Madhavendra Puri. Just like before the sun rises, there's the sunrise, the dawn is coming. You don't see the sun, but you see the dawn. So before the appearance of Mahaprabhu, who introduced the concept of Braj Bhakti, having God as a lover, the dawn was given by Madhavendra Puri. He appeared just before Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. And through his example and his preaching, this understanding of Madhurya Ras, or the loving mood of the gopis, was there. And on his deathbed, as an example, the final lesson, well, when the acharyas leave, it's the final lesson. He was feeling so much separation from Krishna. He was lamenting in separation. O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura. When wilt thou come to me, O darling mine? My heart is burning in pains of separation. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura, not Braj, the gopi. When wilt thou come to me, O darling mine? My heart is burning in pains of separation. Transcendental love, vipralambhava. On his deathbed, that was what he was singing. So one of his so-called disciples, Ramachandra Puri, he was present. He said, Guru Maharaj, why are you lamenting at the moment of death? He didn't understand, didn't catch it. You're supposed to be a liberated soul and not lamenting like an ordinary soul. You should be blissful when you're living, mukti. So Madhavinda Puri said, get out of here, you rascal. So then he called for another disciple. And this disciple understood the deeper meaning of the mood of Madhavinda Puri. Who was that disciple? Ishvara Puri. And he served his master in a very confidential way. He'd clean up his stool and urine, he'd redress him, he'd bathe him, like this. Very intimate service. And then he was blessed by his Guru Maharaj, and later on he became the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu, to set an example, he took a guru, and that guru was Ishvara Puri. Of course, Mahaprabhu doesn't need a guru, but he sets the example. So, Madhavinda Puri introduced the concept, but when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, he introduced the Yuga Dharma. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama. He introduced Vrindavan as the most sacred of all holy places, and he established that the gopis had the most exalted love. He ushered in that understanding. So, every time the Lord comes, he does these things with weapons. Generally, the Lord has his astras. He comes with a club, kaboom. He comes with a disc. What's his name? Anyway, senior moment. Sudarshan Chakra, who got it? Krishna's pastime. Kept blaspheming. Huh? No, Shishupal. There's a painting, his head's flying across. He comes with bows and arrows. But Lord Caitanya also came with a weapon, because you have to destroy the ignorance. What was his weapon? Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Shanko Pankasha Parshadam Yagnai Sankatampaya Jintihi Shu Medashaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who sings the names of Krishna. Complexion's not blackish, he's Krishna himself, and he's accompanied by his associates, servants, companions, and again, weapons. So what are his weapons? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. It's like the atomic bomb. Nowadays you can drop a nuclear weapon above a city, it'll kill all the people, but all the buildings remain intact. Some asura with something. So in the same way, the weapon of the holy name, it can destroy all your demoniac tendencies, it can destroy your karma, it can destroy your demoniac desires, and leave you as a person, and bless you with prema, love of God. So that's his weapon. Mahaprabhu didn't use his Sudarshan Chakra in Kali Yuga. Of course, we know that when Madhai broke the pot on Nityananda's head, that was too much for Mahaprabhu. He heard about it he came running. And he had the Sudarshan. Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed with love for Nitai. And then Mahaprabhu, or Nitai, stopped him. He said, wait a minute, Lord, if you're going to act like this, You're going to have to do that with everyone, because everyone's like Madai and Jagya and Kali Yuga. You're in a different mood. You destroy the demoniac mentality of the people, but not their bodies. So in this way, the holy name is conquering the world. People come with all these demonic, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. And anyone can take benefit. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya in his Shushoka Shlokam, he says, Shamshara Sharpa Darshanam Murchitanam Kalo Yuge Asadham Bhagavan Nama Srimad Vaishnava Sevanam. In the age of Kali, persons who have been bitten by the serpent of samsara should get relief by the medicinal herb of chanting the holy names of the Lord and what? Srimad Vaishnava Sevanam, menial service to the lotus feet of Vaishnava. You include that in, you get some extra benefit. In the age of Kali, persons who have been bitten by the serpent of samsara shall get relief by the medicinal herb. I just had an operation, a knife in my back and stitches, There's another path, take some medicinal herbs to cure your disease. The medicinal herb of chanting the holy names of the Lord and menial service to the Vaishnavas. So that's our business, because we've been blessed, we have to take the chanting to the streets, but here we don't have to do it. The people come from the streets to hear. I said so many times during our stay here, Prahlad Maharaj, I don't want to go to the Himalayan mountains and become liberated myself. I'm going to stay in the city and deliver the people. Well, the people are all here in the mountains, so we get to come to the mountains. Better than being in New York or Chicago or, in Beijing. We are there, we're going to go back there, but it's kind of madhur, 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 bhaji, sweet, sweet, sweet. Here we're in this beautiful, we've got the Himalayas there and the Ganges there and the purifiers of wind coming down every morning. We're right in the lap of Krishna. And what are we doing? We're sharing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I'd like to finish today with a poem by a devotee named Premananda Das. What a name. The scholar Shukumar Sen, famous scholar, in a book called A History of Brajbuli, or Brajbuli literature, it's written that he was known, he had a nickname Prem Das. He lived in the 1700s and he was a disciple of Hari Goswami, a devotee in the line of Nityananda's wife, Janavamata. There's different Gaudiya lines. So Janavamata, this is her line, the devotee there. And this Premananda Das, he was born in Kulia, it's in Navadvip. And when he was 16 years old, I was reading his history. I'm just enlivened by these previous devotees. I want to say, how did they do it so I can do it too in Kali Yuga? I'm fascinated. There's so many poets and devotees who lived previously, and how did they make it? So when he was 16, he left home and he came to Braj, where he was a cook for Govindaji, the deity of Rupa Goswami in Jaipur. 1700s, he was cooking there. And he wrote a book called Vamsi Shiksha, a poem dealing with the life and teachings of an associate of Mahaprabhu called Vamsi Vadana. And this Premananda, he also wrote a book called Chaitanya Chandradaya Komodi. It was a Bengali metrical version of Chaitanya Chandradaya Natakam of Shri Kavi Karnapura. It's all quite scholarly stuff. But today, I'll recite his poem. It's so wonderful. Like when you finish, a symphony. Dun, 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 dun. So here's a way to perfectly finish the class. We'll recite his poem. The poem is called Without the Son of Sachi. Who's Sachi? Sachi is the mother. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us. Muktananda Prabhu. Thank you. I'm very safe in his arms. He's a great Vaishnava. You speak with him, he knows so much Gaudiya literature. Thank you for doing this. So this is the poem without the son of Sachi. Emana Shritiram Bandhana Veni Prema Bali Nam Ati Adbhuto Shruta Haita Karakane. Without the son of Sachi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose ears would have heard the most wonderful holy name, which is renowned as Prema. So Premadas is describing that there's no difference between Prema and the holy names of Chaitanya. Shri Krishna Namera Saguna Mahima Keba Janaita Ara Brinda Vipinera Maha Madhurnima Pravesha Haitakara. Who would have informed us of the glories of the names of Lord Krishna? Who would be able to enter the greatest sweetness of the Vrindavan forest? All glorifying Mahaprabhu. Keba Janaita Radhera Madhura Rasa Yasa Chamat Karatara Anubhav Satvika Vikara Gochara Chaila Kara. Who would have informed us of the splendid nectar, fame, and sweetness of Sri Radha? Who would have understood her Satvika Vikara and transcendental ecstasies? Bharajaye Vilas, Bras Maharas, Prema Parikiya, Tattva Gopira Mahima, Vibichari Sima Kara Gati Chila Eta. Who would have understood the pastimes in Vrindavan, the Ras and the Maharas, the nature of love and Parakiya Ras, Parama love, the glories of the gopis, and the topmost limit of love of God, had not it been for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Sachi. Danya Kali Dhanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Parama Karunakari, Vidi Agochara Ye, Prema Vikara Pakashe Jakata Bihari. So glorious and fortunate is this age of Kali. Oh my gosh, he's glorifying the age of Kali. So glorious and fortunate is this age of Kali. Lord Nitai and Lord Chaitanya, being absolutely merciful, have revealed the great ecstasy of pure transcendental love. And they filled the entire universe with it. An attainment which is beyond the reach of even Lord Brahma, but available to all the souls in Kali Yuga. Uttama Adama Kichu na Bachila Yachiye Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Emana Goranga Antare Dhariya Dhola. Without considering who was exalted and who was degraded, Chaitanya and Nitai offer their loving embrace to one and all. Premananda says, please embrace such munificent Lord Shri Gauranga within your heart. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Lord Nityananda Ram ki, Mayapur Dhamma ki, Gangama ki, Shri Gaura Purnima Maha Mahotsava ki, Goloka Vrindavan Dham ki, Giriraj Govardhan ki, Gaura Premanandi, Jai Jai Sri Radhe. Shan. Hare Krishna, thank you.